The update just dropped yesterday on the 24th of April 2020. Everything I mentioned in the video was added to the game. We have 3 new ships: the Hook, the Alliance, and the Taipan. The Taipan is a level 7 junk ship clearly originating from Mignola that has excellent crosswind movement and being an extremely fast ship in the game. Its stats contain a health of 6,000 points, the ability to hold 4 size 4 cannons, 6 cargo capacity, 9 point speed, and a storage of 40 cannonballs. I understand that this ship is fairly weak in power, but 9 point speed is really fast. It's actually one of the fastest ships in the entire game next to a few other ships. So the fact that this is added to the game and it has crosswind speed, this ship will be very useful for getting around the map easier. And next up we have the Hook. Very similar to the Stiletto, it is a level 9 brig ship that has slightly slower speed than the Stilly, but it has more power. The ship's status contains 12,000 health points, which keep in mind is 1,000 points higher than a Stiletto and the Tyrant, and it has the ability to hold 4 size 7 cannons and 2 size 8 cannons at the front of the ship. If you don't know what that means, you can actually put 42-pounder lawn guns at the front of the ship. Yeah, you heard me right, 42-pounder lawn guns as a chaser. And not just that, its broadsides can be 36-pounder lawn guns also, which in this case, this ship has a lot of tilt. These cannons can shoot very far. But anyways, I digress. The ship also has a speed of 7, which is slower than a Stiletto by 1 point, and it holds storage for 50 cannonballs. Now, I know this ship is clearly for navies and for combat, but if you ask me, this ship seems very overpowered. This might be a meta-breaking ship. This might be the new meta for a while until they actually balance the ship, because from what it looks, this is like a Stiletto, but 20 times better. And lastly, we have 2 variants of the new sloop of war ship, the Alliance. One is made of pine, and the other is made of spruce only for the deck. It is a level 10 ship that has an amazing broadside of 8 cannons per side, which keep in mind is 2 cannons more than the Astrias on their broadsides combined. This ship can punch a lot of damage in a single volley. 8 cannons in one broadside is a lot if you ask me, but I digress. The stats contains health of 18,000 points, 16 size 6 cannons, 2 size 4 cannons at the front of the ship, 0 cargo hold, which is clearly for combat, a speed of 6, and a storage for 200 cannonballs. Again, this is clearly for navies and combat, but in the end, I am extremely interested in how these 3 ships will be used shortly once everything has settled and everything has calmed down. I also want to mention that if you are a 5th alpha tester for Tradelands 2, also known as Tradelands World, you will get 2 new things. You will get a new free title, which is just named Alpha for your avatar, and the second, you will get a free ship, which is the Hook, adding to your ship warehouse absolutely free. It'll be named Alpha Hook with an exclamation mark, and it will also be getting a radio inside the ship, similar to a Super Steamfish, for you to play any appropriate music or sounds from the Roblox audio library. This radio will only be for alpha testers that tested Tradelands World and for the winner of a contest, which I'll explain later. Unfortunately though, there was a bug that came with this. If any player joined in during the window where the bug was unpatched, every single player in the server would have the Alpha Hook that also has the radio inside the ship. Fortunately though, this was quickly noticed and patched, and any bug Alpha Hook that was spawned in for non-alpha players was quickly deleted. Some people were actually furious to this because they actually added some of their expensive equipment such as glowy cannons into the ship, and that got deleted with the Alpha Hook. This just goes to show that if something happens that isn't meant to happen, don't get comfortable with it. Now, remember when there was a quick contest on the Tradelands material rating report? I actually reported this on my previous video, but it stated that the winner will be getting one of the new ships for absolutely free. Well, out of the bloom, surprisingly, my close friend Huggable5678, also known as Mighty Penguin for his Tradelands YouTube content, actually won the contest. He showed me his winning ship, which actually turned out to be the Hook, that was very similar to the Alpha Tester Hook that I stated earlier. I say this because he also got a radio inside the ship, but the only difference is that his ship is named Hook with an exclamation mark instead of Alpha Hook with an exclamation mark. Now, let's talk about the next feature that came with this update, and one of the biggest features that was added into the game everybody is talking about, the scrap warehouse feature. I further assumed this was a joke when I made my previous video on Tradelands News, but it actually turned out it was going to be an actual feature. They released the new warehouse point system where if you delete any unwanted items inside of your warehouse, you receive scrap points. Depending on what the item is, depends on how much scrap you get out of it. You can use these scrap points to make unique furniture within your carpentry station or purchase new vouchers at Harrisburg for the Kraken and Taipan. These vouchers can only be redeemed at Harrisburg from a new merchant, the scrap dealer. It will cost you 100 scrap to get 1,000 doubloons, 500 scrap for a Kraken voucher, and 5,000 scrap for a Taipan voucher. Now, I want to clarify these vouchers will not give you the ship itself. This will be used along with other materials to make either the Kraken and Taipan, similar to the Steam Goose, Mortar Platform, and Warkoi. Sadly though, this feature was also affected with a hot bug. It was involved with the torch. Yeah, the torch that is just known for giving a light source through the night actually became the most bought item in that day and was used to create the exploit when the update was released. This was because when the bug was still unpatched, you can easily buy a torch for 50 doubloons and delete in your warehouse for 5 scrap. If you don't know what that means, 5 scrap is a ton for giving a simple torch, and it can stack up very easily over time. This was soon to be quickly exploited. Players that discovered this bug quickly spam purchased the torch just to delete them in their warehouse to get a ton of scrap points. NAR quickly realized this bug and made a patch to it also. NAR also stated that they will be banning any player that abused this bug to get staggering amounts of scrap. Some people that turned themselves in and admitted to the wrongdoing were charged with a fine, and they were expected to convert their scrap into doubloons and hand it over to EpicMon999, an event coordinator in the Tradelands Discord server. Other players that admitted also had their thread closed and wasn't charged with the fine. Following up on what was added in the new update, we have a new unique UI in place. If you press M on your keyboard, or you press the little map button on your mobile phone, you would actually get a built-in map for all players to use. No more do you need a solid map in your inventory. You can now just press the M key or press the new button on your phone and it opens up the map on your screen. This also means that the physical maps that you can buy at the general merchant at any faction island or the expanded map at Harrisburg is no longer available and is not being announced that it will be returning to the game anytime soon. Next up, we have lots of new furniture for your house under a completely new category that will involve using the new scrap points to make these items, the Scrap Rewards category. Here is a quick rundown of what the furniture is. I will be going very slowly for you to take a look at it. If you want to know what the material costs are, you can find it to the right of the carpentry station. Here we go. I am amazed at what you can make with these new scrap points, mainly since these furniture items look and feel so premium, especially on that governor chair. And speaking of the chair, it has come out that event coordinator EpicMom999 himself was actually the very first person to craft the chair. All I can say is well done, my good friend. After that, we just have some fixes and improvements. Loading times are not much shorter but will take longer the first time you join the game. Some trophies that were mainly crafted in the carpentry station are no longer tradable, and small simple bug fixes that came with the update. Well, that's all to cover for today. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and consider subscribing since I do make these sorts of videos. Let me know down below if I missed anything or what you want me to cover in the next video. All my media links, including the Discord server, are linked below. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope I made you smile. I am your host, WorldCast, and you just watched Tradelands News.